I'm ready, brother. So I know we're recording, but we're going to do
Yes.
predictions. I've got two team predictions, three player predictions. I've got a kid I think is going to play in the league someday, and I've got the best player, Gatorade Player of the Year in Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with just Landon Tomey, and we've talked about him a lot. I'm not going to get into his stats. We all know who he is.
Yeah. Absolutely. That works. That works. But I do think you need to do your too short to open the podcast.
Man, if I had some too short to play. Um, I can't really do an imitation. He's got that high pitched voice. Oh man.
Oh,
All right, start us up, partner. Throw us out an intro
well,
with a
we,
straight face.
we probably ought to wait for the people who are watching on YouTube to come back to their senses. They're probably suffering from oxygen deprivation. They're laughing at us two jackasses so hard.
Are we
But
live? Are we live streaming on YouTube
no,
now?
no, thank
Okay.
God, no,
I'm
no.
like,
That would
hold on,
be
let me change my
yeah,
my my, my plan here. It's like Saturday Night Live. You
yeah.
gotta cut out some of the bad script.
I had to fire a cue card reader so we couldn't go live. My
Here,
wife just wasn't cutting it.
here's the pot of gold. Hi. We've got a prediction with some gold
Oh,
there.
nice,
Anyway,
nice. Well, as you can
fired
see,
up.
folks, Mr. Bentley and I have decided to embrace the holiday today. Not often that good old baseball season kicks off on St. Patty's Day, but here we are. So we'll be giving you directions to the pot of gold today. We thought it would be kind of cool to get together and talk about some of our predictions. We tried to get you folks to participate. You guys aren't cool enough to participate yet. I get
I
it. We're still a young podcast.
I thought Coach Patrick Hogan, being a fine Irish lad, was gonna chuck us one. He said he was thinking hard. He was putting on the brainstorm, and then he failed to appear. But we will be seeing Mr. Hogan next week, and he'll be wearing green for the Richwoods Knights either way.
In all fairness to Patrick, he was possibly either taking a phone call from one of his dozen siblings or trying to track down one of his four children.
He does have legit a dozen siblings. He is the baker's dozen at 13.
And that's not even throwing in like Steve Corey, who he's been with, basically been in the family for 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Heck, even longer than that, probably. Steve's probably been a member of that family for 20 years. So, like, what are we
It's
doing here?
it's fun to
But
see that
anyway,
family. Dan Hogan, the oldest, he's like 6 years, 5 years older than me, but
yeah.
anytime I see him, there's a brotherly hug there and some laughs and some clowning. But go ahead, Diggs. Let us get to the task at hand here.
Well, we thought we would jump in today and just, uh, we were hoping to get a little bit wild with the hot takes, but instead we will make fools of ourselves. And quite frankly, that's what I do best. So let's go ahead and jump in here. We decided to do some predictions today, Mr.
We've been
Bentley.
drinking, folks. Look, it's St. Patty's Day. You're going to have to give us a little slack. And by the way, today's episode is brought to you by Kelleher's downtown Peoria. Be there tomorrow for their big fiesta. It's now 39 years in a row. Just kidding. I think it's like 22, but it's a fun time down there. Big beer tents, lots of people, lots of fun. I'm looking out the window right now, Diggle, here in Geneva, Illinois. I see 3 inches of snow on the ground, but
Yep.
Kelleher's doesn't care. They will be outdoors. They will have heaters. Get down there, get some green beer, have some Guinness, whatever your poison is. All right. That's our sponsor.
Does this mean the Donnellys are beefing with us now?
Yeah, we'll get to shout out to Ryan Donnelly. If you're on the north side of Peoria, it's a much shorter drive. Please stop by there. The horseshoe is breathtaking, and there'll be some fine Guinness flowing as well.
Oh, thank God. I think we avoided the phone call from Pat Donnelly. So, well, anyway, I'm going to let my astute co-host here jump in with the first of his predictions. So we went with some individual predictions, some team predictions, and then we'll talk about player of the year predictions.
All right,
David,
thank you,
fire when
Diggs.
ready.
I'm going to start with a team prediction and get out your pen because this was hard to acquire all this intel on a team, Brother Rice, who I think is going to take the state title this year. And here's why. We'll start with the seniors. Gavin Tressenberg, shortstop. He's going to Arizona. Not a bad player. Jackson Natanik, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing any of these wrong. He's the shortstop, right-handed pitcher. He's going to Illinois State. Aiden Nohava, Eastern Michigan. He plays a little third base for him. Tag Callahan could be off the boat parents, a fine Irish name. He's going to St. Xavier to play with our friend Coach Addison Rouse. Now we'll get to the juniors on this roster. Nolan Ramoli.
What's in trouble? They're like, but wait, there's more.
There's more. Nolan Ramoli's going to Kentucky. I believe he's ranked number 5 in that 2026 class.
Just he is
a ho-hum SEC school. Another junior, Braden McKendrick, Southpaw, currently uncommitted, very highly ranked junior. Trey Webster, catcher, uncommitted, highly ranked. And now the sophomores. I'm sorry, I have to keep going. Brady Cunningham, right-handed pitcher, top 10 ranked in the 2027 class. Gavin Stanislawski, excuse me, third base, first base, highly ranked. He's probably going D1. And to wrap it up, Anthony Carolano, outfielder. They are juiced to the gills. This team, their backups are starting at really good programs, folks. I know it's hard. Baseball is very different from other sports, basketball, football. The ball rolls a funny way. It hits a bag, a drop third strike, and the best team in the playoffs can lose in the first round. But I like this Brother Rice team, Diggs.
I agree. There is a ton of talent there. That is, man, that it almost strikes me as kind of like an old school Catholic League lineup. Like that when it was just, you go back to like the 70s or even an old public school lineup like Lane Tech, where there was, 2,000 boys in the whole school and you had to, could every year put together a different baseball team out of that. It's just
Peoria Manual in
yeah.
our hometown back in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
Jesus, they were powerhouses.
Yeah, the Ed Stonebox teams, absolutely. So yeah, it's just a loaded roster, and it's exciting because you don't see that anymore. You see a lot of kids, kind of spread out. They want to make their own name, and it's very rare to see a team like this kind of put together in such a way.
So good luck to Brother Rice this year. Yes. I'll move on to my second prediction. We'll go back.
Well, hang on. I want to tag team this with you.
Yep.
I have a prediction.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty wild. I'm going to go with the Tremont Turks. I don't think they're going to win a 1A state title. It's possible. I'm not ready to go that far, but I think they will make the 1A state finals a year after going 11-14.
They have the big 3, and I am going to briefly talk about them later because I'm going to go through a couple games I'm going to try to catch in March. But Tremont's big 3, I mean, yeah, it's not Brother Rice deep, but I put those
at the 1A level. That's Brother Rice.
That's deep. What I mean. They are the Brother Rice essentially. And those big 3, I will put up against any other, even a 2A or 3A. I mean,
honestly, it's a big 6. I mean, you've got Blaine Williams, Chase
I forgot
Rhodes,
about Blaine. You're right. It's more
Dawson, Meeker, Booth. I mean, you can go on and on. I mean, it's just heck. That doesn't even count Jake Williams, Blaine's little brother.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it's a loaded bunch. I have a ton of respect for Eddie Betson. He comes from that kind of Kevin Brown, Washington coaching tree, just a good dude. And I think Ed's going to do great work there. And I know some of the Tremont alums were very excited to see him get the job as well. So I really think they can pull off that change in a year. I really do.
And you and I will be catching the Turks at Richwoods March 20th. Come on out, folks. Richwoods is, I don't know who they're going to pitch. Maybe I'll try to hit up Mr. Hogan to find out, but the
I would
Knights this
imagine.
year are no slouch.
I would imagine we see some combination of the three we talked about: Jarrett Quinn, Zach Gilbert,
Cam
or
Hayes.
and Cam Hayes. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see all three of those, but it just depends on what the rest of their opening week is look like. And obviously, this snow on the ground outside is gonna. I hate to say it, but it might make tomorrow's games a little dicey
It's
with
going to be tough.
the moisture on the ground. So I don't know if people will get banged or not, but
The return of Mr. Kilgore for the Richwoods Knights is also going to be something we're looking forward to.
yes,
Having
Alex
lost a
Kilgore.
lot of his junior year to injury, the kid's a beast.
Yeah, he is. You know, I try not to use hyperbole or put it where someone you don't know, maybe there's somebody out there that's better that we haven't seen yet. But I told everybody that would listen that in terms of corner infield bats, he was one of the best in that class. Like I told all my buddies, the Division 1 level, the JUCO level, all that, he was one of the best. And so them getting him back after still having a pretty good year uh, is it bodes well. That's a big bat in the middle of the lineup.
Shall I move to my number 2 prediction?
Absolutely.
All right, we're sticking to our hometown on this one. I'm going, and boy, you could really flip a coin with this, people. Dunlap Eagles are going to edge out East Peoria by 1 game to win the Mid-Illini Conference title, and the Eagles will advance to the Super Sectional. Big prediction there. Diggs, what are your thoughts?
That's certainly possible. It was a dogfight. I mean, if you look through the team previews yesterday on our Patreon, folks, Diggles Diamonds Patreon covering all the baseball in Peoria, Woodford, and Tazewell counties. We're looking to expand. We just got to figure out how to consistently get coverage up north and down south. But uh, I think just looking at that, I think that's probably right. Um, I do think when you talk about pitching, I think East Peoria has the edge,
Yeah.
but Dunlap has the lineup depth and just the overall depth that's going to make it a pretty tall order for somebody to knock them off. I know talking to Kyle Wisher from Washington, he thought he had a lot of depth. Uh, but again, is the pitching all proven? You've got Gavin Lawrence, who I'm told has lost 40 pounds, which is huge, and he's in the best shape of his life. So that would bode toward him returning to his form of a sophomore, where he just buzzsawed everybody and had me calling Drew Locascio and telling him he sure as heck needed to be ranked higher. Uh, you've got Carter Prina coming back all the way healthy. Last year, he was just starting to get healthy at the end of the year and kind of worked his way back from some elbow problems. So it's and then you factor in Morton, and Morton could be one. With Ryan Shaffnet, you're going to have a chance every game. I mean, that's a potential for 7 conference wins alone right there. And then you throw in Colin Burns and Hudson Lovell and Cam Crawford and kids like that, and it could get real interesting in the middle lineup for sure.
That's why I think this was a bold one, because I think it's such a toss up. And we don't
Yeah,
know what Limestone could be in the mix too. You never know.
100%. Tyler Christensen, you know, Tyler doesn't lack confidence, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. And he really thinks that his kids, having kind of suffered through some low points in his first couple of years as he's built the program, that they're ready to break out. So it really is. It's I felt pretty comfortable as I wrote in the piece that you could pretty confidently say that East Peoria and Dunlap were the top two, but after that, like 3 through 5, it got a little dicey. And it wouldn't surprise me at any rate to see any of those teams that finished 3 through 5 last year, spend some time in first place in the league this year.
All right. Shall I continue, or do you want to counter and go you, me, you, me?
Let's just keep countering. How's that?
Fire away.
Um, I am going to go uh, a little to the west, and I am going to say that Zach Burling takes the Carthage Illini West Chargers to the state finals. I think I think Zach's squad has a lot coming back. Um, oh my God, help me out with third baseman's name, Tommy Robertson. Um, coming back is no Wes Robertson, not Tommy.
Wesley,
Tommy
yeah,
Robertson.
Wes.
Yeah,
The brother
yeah,
is at short, and
yeah.
yeah,
So,
he
so you
might.
got
Did
the
he graduate? I can't remember if
no.
he's a senior.
I think he's a senior now. But
Okay.
anyway, when you bring back a kid who drove in 50 runs at the small school levels, also a great pitcher.
While he was 16 years old.
Yeah, and Zach is just a great coach. I think he's gonna, that's been one of those areas where for a couple years now, going back 10, 15 years, you can always find ball players on that side of the state. Now you got to sneak in and get them past Justin Schulte at Southeastern or uh, Adam Hightower at John Wood or the staff at Quincy, whatever. But there's good ball players over on that side of the state, and they don't get a lot of love because there's not really a big city newspaper or anything over there. It used to be Macomb, and Macomb was one of the first papers to go kind of zombie, zombie style, and not really have a local contention anymore. But I think Carthage Illini West is probably one of the sneakier teams to watch in 2A. Um, obviously, you get to the state finals, anything can happen, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them at Dozer Park come June at all.
Completely agree. We talked about him in an early episode. We talked about Wes Robertson specifically, and a little bit about their staff, their team, the coach.
Yeah,
I want to say, oh boy, maybe episode 5 or 6. I can't remember.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
they are a good squad, and I expect them to. I fully co-sign what you said. I expect a deep run as well. All right, for my next one, I'm going to the pot of gold here. See what we have. And this
Would have
one,
would have been
this
cooler if you would have pulled out Lucky Charms.
I think there's some in the cupboard. Um, this one to me, I am not going out on a big limb. I've talked about him before on the show. I predict Logan Fernandez, center fielder, junior at Mount Carmel, the Caravan, will steal in his inaugural season on varsity 27 bags. He will also have 5 triples and make all conference Chicago Catholic League, the Blue Division. Not an easy thing to do on any 3 of those. Maybe the third one is the hardest when I just talked about what Brother Rice is rolling in.
Yeah,
We talked about
yeah,
Logan before. All he needs for those 5 triples is to hit a ball in the gap. And you
yeah,
better have an outfielder that has 90 outfield velo, or he's going to be standing on third laughing.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to take that uh, banner and say that somebody's not even going to give Logan Fernandez a chance to keep that banner. I think there's a better junior at base running. I'm going to put my guy Gavin Michaels
Oh, yeah.
at Normal Community. I'm going to put him down for a 30 piece
Ooh,
on the stolen base front.
30-piece
Uh,
nuggets.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
man, he can do it. He's a quick dude. I
Six
like it.
five seven runner. He is one of those kids that literally looks like he's not putting any effort into running. Like he's just looks like he's floating. And next thing you know, he's gone, home to third in under 11 seconds, or he's gotten down the line in 3.7. Just something silly. Like it's, you know, uh, the kid is just a walking tool. He's a 6.57 runner. He's 90 across the diamond. Upper 90s exit velos. I mean, the kid is just he's going to be a stud.
I like it. I'm going back to the pot of gold to talk about a little brotherly love. And this brotherly love comes to you from Victor J. Andrew High in Tinley Park. There are twin brothers, the Kendall brothers. Get to know them now, Nolan and Caden. I talked to their coach. He gave me some good insight. Andrew plays in the Southwest Suburban Conference. This is not an easy place to play.
This is Tenley Park for those of you south of I-80.
Yes, that he will have to play against Lincoln Way West, Lincoln Way East, all those. Lockport, I think, is in that conference.
Yep.
This is a difficult place to play. By the way, Andrew High School mascot, the Thunderbolt, singular.
Yeah.
You have to love it. So Caden is the coach tells me Caden is their ace number one pitcher. He just touched 90 2 weeks ago, but he can also hit exit velo, 100 max, 74-mile-an-hour bat speed. His brother Nolan is a left-handed hitting catcher. He hit 385 with an over 1,000 OPS last year. He also threw out over 50% of the runners that tried to gank a bag from him. But here's my prediction. The brothers.
First off, are we bringing Gank back?
I'm bringing
that back?
Gank or Gaffle. They're kind of synonyms. Since my leprechaun hat sort of looks like too short, I felt confident that I could go with either Gank or Gaffle. And, so I'll use them interchangeably. My prediction for the brothers, the Kendall brothers from Andrew High, the Thunderbolt, is their combined batting average will be over 800. Boom. There it is. We'll see what happens.
Boom goes the dynamite.
It's a tough thing to do in that division to have, and look, Nolan can hit 410 and then Caden only has to hit 390. But these kids can ball out, and Caden on both sides. I love these two kids.
All right. I have this is not necessarily an individual prediction, but I have a similar type prediction. I think we will have the over under on 90 plus arms just in central Illinois. We're not talking about kids. Like, let's make it between I-80 and I-70. The total number of kids with 90 plus fastballs will be somewhere between 18 and 24. I'm going to set the over under at 20 and a half.
I like kids, it. Now,
kids that throw 90 plus.
Out of those 20.5 for Vegas. The Sahara Casino has 21, but we won't.
Yeah.
Out of those 20, how many will be K's Academy, Josh Counton proteges?
Oof.
That's catching you off the spot. We didn't talk pregame about this.
Okay, so it always cracks me up because, like, I know who's in the facility.
Yep.
On a daily basis. So obviously
do an over under. You could do an over under guesstimate.
I'll take 11. I don't want to say a dozen because that's 2/3 sounds crazy, but going one under for some reason makes sense in my brain. I'll go with 11 out of those, about half. Let's go half will be K's Academy kids.
I can't disagree, and I love it. I will counter that prediction. Not a general stat prediction. I'm going to stick with a player. One of my favorite, I think somehow under the radar pitchers in the Middle Illini Conference, who was first team all conference as a sophomore, unheard of. Alec Williams, right-handed pitcher out of Limestone. He's going to chuck a sub-2 ERA, which he did last year, 1.72, had 6 wins last year. This year, he's going to have 7 wins, a sub-2 ERA in that conference with the bats we've already talked about. He's going to return to first-team Middle Illini all-conference, and he's going to steal 12 bags on the other side of the ball.
Oh, I like it. I like it. That's a good pick, and that young man is criminally underrated. I have to actually make a phone call to that young man a little bit later today. So we will. I agree with that. Thankfully, it'll be releasing after I make the phone call. So we're not giving anything away. All right, let's jump into The two uh, categories we talked about here, Mr. Bentley. Number one, your choice for Gatorade Player of the Year in Illinois.
I got to go Landon Tomey. We're a broken record. I'm a broken record. I'm a hometown favorite. He's a line, his pedigree comes from Bartonville, Limestone with his dad, Hall of Famer Jim. Um, Tennessee commit, faster than you think. Everyone talks about his bat. His bat is great, left-handed
Yeah,
hitter.
I think
It's
I
a
saw 6'9" runner,
six
6'8",
nine
6'9".
runner, and you know how we talk about, and everyone knows in baseball, there's baseball speed, and then there's just straight speed that you,
Yes,
you see at the combine for the NFL. He knows how to run the bases. His
yes,
speed on top of just raw baseball IQ, which it is in the DNA, folks. His dad is
right.
in the Hall of Fame. Um, he's a gamer. I think he's gonna hit. I don't know. He plays in a tough division, but 440, 430. I'll make a guesstimate. I'll go 20 steals. It's a little aggressive, but I'm going 20 steals. Player of the year. There it is. That's my guy.
Ooh, see, I'm going to disagree. Landon Tomey, don't get me wrong, very good player. However, I think there's another Tennessee commit in the state that is headed for even bigger things. I think Cameron Appenzeller is going to be your Illinois Gatorade Player of the Year after he strikes out 120 plus batters and takes Chatham Glenwood to the state finals, where they will finish, I believe, in second place. That's what I'm going to go with.
I
But
like that
they've
prediction.
the Titans are loaded up. I'm going to go ahead and say it's a Brother Rice Glenwood showdown for the title in
And
3A.
wouldn't that be something to watch? Oh,
Yes, but
man.
but Appenzeller is awfully good. He's so good that Tony Botello was taking time out of his regular season schedule to fly to Springfield last week to watch him in a basketball sectional. So he's definitely I think Appenzeller's your winner, no doubt.
I think I will co-sign the love for Appenzeller, and I think he is a mid to late first round draft pick. Don't
Absolutely.
keep in mind, folks, I believe Appenzeller is a senior and Tomey is a
Yes.
junior. So
Correct.
they both could be first round picks.
Yes. Both things could be true as well. Landon
We
could
we
be the
took
Gatorade Player of the Year next year.
yep, we exactly. We took some low hanging fruit on this one. And
Yes.
sometimes it's just the answer is duh. You know, the answer is duh. Like, look, we like to make some predictions. I've picked out some players that are way down on the radar to talk about throughout our first season here in Diggles Diamonds podcast. But when you're talking about the Gatorade Player of the Year, you do have to take the low hanging fruit, and I think those are two great names.
Nice. I like it. I like it. All right. What do you have for a wait, did I yeah, I already gave mine. Duh. Don't mind us, folks. What do you have for a current player who's going to play this high school season in the state of Illinois that will eventually reach the big leagues one day?
Now, this one, I'm not going to take low hanging fruit because, yeah, we can say Tomey, we can say Appenzeller. There's other guys that are top five that, yeah, they're going to play, definitely get drafted. I'm going
Yeah.
to take, and I think that the stipulation of this question is in the show, not just minors, correct?
Right.
Like
Yes.
this
Has
player
to reach the big leagues.
currently in high school in Illinois, and he's going to play in the show. And here's my answer: Xavi, Anthony Chavez, Mount Carmel Caravan, first base outfielder. I like to call him Mini Soto because of the way he sets up in the box, as well his batter eye. He just spits on balls. And 2 weeks ago at a PBR event, he poked a ball 107 miles an hour exit velo. I don't know if it was the same pitch, but he also hit one 404 feet in that same show. That was 2 weeks ago. Xavi, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Chavez, he can swing it from the left side. Um, he was all conference in the Chicago Catholic League Blue Division as a sophomore. This kid's only a junior. how good is he going to be next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I will buy that just because we know the bat plays. And just FYI, folks, that's when we talk about things that get you recruited, like there are certain it's almost like a progression. Like the first thing, if you're a position player that gets checked, is the bat. Like that's what moves you on in that scout's mind to, okay, we know he can hit. Does he have a position? How's the arm play from that position? What's his foot speed like? Are we going to need to teach him a new position? But the bat is undoubtedly what gets you there. So yeah, that's a great prediction just based on what has to happen alone. I'm going to go in a similar vein, but I'm going to go to a town that this kid has been on the radar forever. This is kind of low hanging fruit, but not really, which I'll explain here in a second. But I'm going to take Quincy Fulton out of Newton. Uh, if you've never heard of Newton, don't feel bad. It's a little town, southeastern Illinois. It is so. I spent 4 years at Eastern. Well, I spent a lot more than that at Eastern Illinois University. But I spent 4 years working for the Charleston News Gazette and the Mattoon, or pardon me, the Charleston Times Courier and the Mattoon Journal Gazette.
A
And
lot of people go to Eastern for 7 years, Diggle. They're called doctors.
yeah, but this one did not get a doctor. Yeah, this one got called into the dean of journalism department and got told it's time for you to go.
You've worn out your
So
welcome.
yeah,
Oh man. You were Van Wilder of Charleston.
yes, I was. That is correct. But if you're not familiar with Newton, Newton is this little town in southeastern Illinois, and I cannot for the life of me remember the last time that Newton did anything of note in any sport. Like it's just they don't, you know, I think their football team is decent, but not great. Basketball, no. Baseball has never been particularly notable. But here's this kid who's already like he's in the MLB development pipeline. Like he's one of their chosen kids, which MLB has a pretty high hit rate. I mean, the one of mine that went through Nathan Lavender is in AAA with the Rays right now, and probably looking to make his big league debut this year. So Quincy Fulton, young man, is just an athlete. Great story. His dad's the head football coach at Newton High School. When I found out where he was from, I actually had to text Wow Factor's Mike Broadhurst and just be like, "Is this kid really from Newton? Like Newton, Illinois?" He's like, "Yeah, dad's the football coach there." And I was just I consider myself a pretty astute observer of prep sports in Illinois, and I can't remember the last notable thing anybody from Newton High School did. So the fact that we're predicting him to play one day in the big leagues is, in my mind, just mind blowing. But I think he's got the physical gifts. The bat plays. He's an athlete. He can play anywhere on the diamond. Um, it just depends on what people are going to get out of him. But man, he is an interesting player for sure, and I think he could one day get there. And
I
baseball might
like
not even
this.
be his best sport. That's the crazy part. Like Mike Broadhurst will tell you that like he might be a better football player. So
I like the prediction. I like
yeah,
the out of the box thinking. And
yeah,
I admittedly did not know where Newton was.
yeah. Now, since we've already talked about our two, we've covered our list here. I want to throw you a curveball. What baseball movie are you watching tonight when the kids have gone to bed to prepare for the first day of baseball season tomorrow?
The Natural.
Ooh, nice,
One of my
nice.
favorites. Pop Fisher ran that club the way it's supposed to be run, but the way baseball's supposed to be played. You have Bump Bailey giving his life mid-season for the team, crashing into the wall. Selfless act. Rest in peace, Bump Bailey.
I like it. I like it. I remember watching The Natural with my parents. Like that was one of the first movies I remember watching on VHS. Like after we got a VCR, Never forget that in my life. And I always remember trying to figure out why the lady had a gun, and it was just very weird.
Yeah, it gets a
Yeah,
little wild now, based off true story, by the way.
yeah,
Um, but it did get a little, it got a little adulty early on.
yeah,
Now, once he comes back and he's like 49 years old out there dropping bombs,
yeah,
Max Scherzer still on the mound, able to hurl, then I could pick it up. But yes, I'm like, why is she dressed in black?
yeah,
Why did she shoot him?
yeah,
And and then they cut to the scene that shows that she jumped out of a window afterwards, and you kind of have to get the inference. So I don't think I was 12 or 13 before I truly got what
oh yeah,
happened. I
no.
was just like, how
8-year-old me
dare
had
that
no
lady?
idea.
He was going to be better than Babe Ruth. He was going to be better than Shohei. He was a two-way player, for crying out loud. You shot him right in the belly
Yeah,
and then
no,
hopped out a window.
yeah, absolutely. That was a lot to digest. But
Oh,
let me give
man.
you a better suggestion. Not if there's anything. Don't get me wrong. The National's a classic, but this is one of my all-time favorite movies for baseball. Just because, go watch the final season. It is the story, a true story, of a little town in Iowa called Norway, and Norway won 20 state championships, including in its final year before it was shut down and forced to merge with another school because Iowa at that time, we went through it here in Illinois. It was a school consolidation thing. But the gentleman that coached that program, gentleman by the name of Jim Van Scoy, was such a good coach that when Norway closed down and he didn't take a new job, keep in mind this town has 800 people. Like it's a very small town in Iowa. It's outside Cedar Rapids, and this dude was so smart and so good about coaching baseball and had so much success that he got hired out of a tiny Norway high school by the Detroit Tigers to go be one of their minor league pitching coordinators.
That's great.
It's insane. And it's a whole story about what happens. He ends up not being able to coach the final season because uh, they don't want him to win another title, and his assistant ends up taking him to the state title. It's great. Um, and it's always been a little more personal for me because I have actually faced off against Jim Van Scoy. I remember I didn't realize who it was, and I walked to a plate meeting over at the Colonel's Classic over at uh, over in Cedar Rapids. It's one of the bigger tournaments in the fall for those not familiar. And Steve Paxson, who then was at Brimfield and is now at Normal U High, came with me to coach because a couple of his guys were on the team. And I remember going up to plate and this guy sticking his hand out saying, Jim Van Scoy, nice to meet you. And I just went, well, shit. This guy's forgotten more baseball than I'll ever know. And I remember shaking his hand, talking to him for a second. And I walked back to the dugout and I said, I told him, I'm going to keep an eye because I get bang struck just looking at this dude who had like at one point, I think out of the 20 titles that Norway had won, he won 12 of them as a coach. It was like being in the presence of a master. And what I love about that is it shows how it carries on down through the years because none other than my partner in crime, Josh Cowton, played for Jim. And so
Really?
it's kind of cool to see the connection there. And Josh has gone on to work with Jim's grandkids, Connor Van Scoy, who is in the Angels system, I believe. So very cool story. Highly recommend out the final season. Check it out.
I will. I didn't know about it. I will jump on that.
It's I
Um,
think Gavin would love it, guaranteed. It's
Excellent.
kid appropriate. It's like a PG rating, nothing
Yeah.
crazy. Tom Arnold plays the father of a troubled child in that one.
Okay.
Lou
Lou
Brown is
Brown's
in
in
it
it?
as the
Oh,
grandfather.
cue it
I mean,
up.
it's a Rachel Lee Cook.
Those of you who
Um,
don't know who Lou Brown is,
get out.
punch yourself in the face. We don't. Nobody
Rudy,
knows what his real acting name is. His real human name.
couldn't tell you.
He's just Lou Brown,
Yeah.
and he's the skipper of the greatest underrated Cleveland Indian team, 1989, to
Uh,
take to get to the pennant.
we're not done yet either.
I'll go, please.
The assistant coach, Van Scoy's assistant, who they hired because they think he'll screw it up, is played by none other than Rudy, Sean Astin.
Oof.
And
Mr. Goonie himself?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the guy that plays Van Scoy is Powers Booth,
Oh,
who
I
you may
love
remember
Powers.
from he was Curly Bill in Tombstone.
Don't
And
forget Red Dawn.
I was just about to say he was the Colonel in Red
Dude,
Dawn.
he was the man in Red Dawn. But you're right, Curly Bill was oof. Powers Booth is a great. I think he passed away. Great
He
actor,
did.
great
Yes.
character guy, but also could take the lead.
Yeah, it's an outstanding movie with an outstanding cast. You won't be able to get over it.
I love
it's
it.
incredible.
Diggs, do you care if I drop? Do you care if I drop a few games I'm going to try to attend here in March?
Absolutely.
Close up shop.
Absolutely.
All right, I got to run to a fantasy draft here. So I'm going to try to get to a lot of games in March, but with 3 inches on the ground of snow, who knows? Diggs and I together are going to go March 20th, Tremont at Richwoods. We talked about the big 3, big 4 of Tremont. We talked about Richwoods before. You know, Ben Waller's a guy we didn't mention today, but a guy I want to look at. I'm going to up here in the north of the wall. I am going to get a look. Opening day, Tuesday, March 18th at Harvest Christian versus Boylan. 2 guys we've talked. One guy we talked about, Jamison Rapinchuk. I have to believe that Southpaw is going to be getting the ball game 1.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I expect to see him. Also, their shortstop, Kyle Zeebel, very good player, very highly ranked by PBR. Want to get a look at him. The day before we watch Tremont at Richwoods, I'm going to have to make a decision. Either come down early and watch Richwoods at Dunlap with you, or on my way, I can stop in Ottawa to watch Marquette Academy, who's got some good ball players. I don't think that's their opener. I think it's their second game, but they've got 2 kids that are PBR loves them. And that's what
it's Novotny and Alec Novotny, and I forget the other one's name. Son of a gun.
There's Novotny's the senior. Then there's Anthony Couch.
Yep.
He's a 2-way, hit 365 as a sophomore. And folks, keep in mind, they won the state title last year. They also have an outfielder, Grant Dose, who is starting to show up at showcases and looking sharp. Anthony Couch went 5-1 as a sophomore with a 1.62 ERA. I mean, everyone knows about Novotny. I forgot where he's going. He's committed somewhere, I believe, D1.
Parkland. Is it D1?
Oh, is he going JUCO? Okay. Yeah.
I thought he was going to Parkland. Don't hold me to that.
I trust you.
Don't hold me to that. No,
I'll
don't
defer
trust
to
me.
you.
Don't trust me on that one.
He's
that just popped into my head.
If that's game 1 and I can't remember, he'll be starting. So that's a game I want to catch, but we'll see how things go. The last one I'm going to try to catch in March is Wheaton Warrenville South at Bartlett. Jacob Conover for Wheaton Warrenville South, lefty hitter, utility knife on defense, 102 max exit velo. The dude's a baller. Bartlett's got Josh Kalezi in the outfield. Brandon Pell's throwing 91, 92 from the bump, and Vince Yario, probably their number 2 pitcher. So a lot of good players I'm going to try to see. Excited to get out there and finally, even if we're in the snow, watch some baseball.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what this snow is going to do to us, but this week, if we do end up being able to play, I'm going to sneak over tomorrow and see what I've decided to call the Begner Bowl, which will feature the Begner family. The Muhammad Seymour Bulldogs are going to travel to face Peoria Notre Dame on Monday, and
Peoria Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta go to
the theme of the day.
Gotta go to an Irish baseball game on St. Patty's.
You got
But John Lowry, the Indy head coach, is assisted by his father, Lyle Begner, and Blake Begner, the younger brother of John, and obviously another son of Lyle's, is the pitching coach, Muhammad Seymour. And Muhammad Seymour's got some pretty good ball players. They've got Mason Orton, who's headed to Northern Illinois. They got a young man named Nolan Johnson, who our guy Diego Solaris is really high on as a two-way prospect. Can really hit. Blake has nothing but great things to say about him as a young man and his work ethic. So college coaches need to be in on him. And also not just a great hitter, but can also, sit 85, 86 off the bump. And Blake thinks the ceiling's higher there. So I'm excited to see him. Muhammad's just a real talented team overall. And obviously Notre Dame welcomes back a lot of ball players from that super sectional team a year ago. So that's going to be a fun one to open with. Tuesday, I want to go up to Chillicothe and see East Peoria take on the host Grey Ghosts. I don't know that I'll be able to hang out for very long, so I got to get back and oversee some project graduation stuff. But then Wednesday, Thursday, that could be the double dose of the Richwoods Knights and the Dunlap Eagles and the Tremont Turks.
Yeah,
that's
we're
probably where
booked fully, folks.
Yeah.
We're booked for the 20th. Tremont, that's a Wednesday. No, Thursday. Tremont at
Thursdays.
Richwood.
Yeah,
The questionable
we're double
will be,
booked on that Thursday.
yes. I'm going to try to make it Wednesday, but if the weather's nice and I happen to be driving from Geneva to Peoria and Ottawa is kind of on the way,
Yes, dead on the way. Yeah,
I may take the exit just to see Mr. Couch, Mr. Dose, and Novotny
yes,
see what they can do. Maybe for an hour, and then maybe I can make it for the last few innings. I drive fast and illegally.
But he's a lawyer, so it works out. Also, folks, don't forget this is a very personal holiday for Dave and I. Rad Day is also March 20th. And if anyone would like to join us going to the screening of the 80s cult classic Rad at Willow Knolls Theater, 7 p.m., Dave has already promised to pay for all the air hockey.
So, the air hockey is taken care of. They already sent me a bill estimate before the show, and I had to put 20% down. So please join us there. Get your ducats. They're going fast.
If you've not seen the movie Rad, you need to go look it up. Go watch the trailer and then tell me you don't want to be at Willow Knolls Theater on Thursday evening.
I think it was nominated for eight Oscars, but my memory's a little fuzzy.
By the way, that's a double feature that we get to sit through, by the way, David. Because what's the
twin bill? What's the second?
Not only is it the film, it's also the documentary about the making of the film.
Oh man, I may never leave the theater. I'm just going to
absolutely
replay it. We've got a full slate, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to catch a lot of games. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Please stop by and see Pat Sullivan at Kelleher's and Ryan Donnelly at Donnelly's Shamrock. The new location. They're next to the old Chi-Chi's on the north side of Peoria. Shout out to Leslie Williams and Steve Robinson, former Chi-Chi's employees. I think 1995 to 96.
I believe that's Leslie Williams Seiler now, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for
that's all I remember.
By the way, Steve Robinson was a host, but I call him hostess. So he and Leslie Williams were hostesses together. Like, why do you put like a 6'4", 240-pound guy that's going to scare people looking like a Sasquatch as the first person you see when you walk into a Mexican restaurant? I mean, why not throw him in the back? Like, make him like bust tables or something. How did he get that gig? I think it was
with Leslie.
With Leslie, yeah, and you've got an attractive young lady there, and then the 6'4" monster.
And thought, like, how many people walked in and thought, like, "Oh, are you okay, young lady? You need help?"
Yeah, and the people that are in line waiting for the host to come up, they're like, "I hope that big guy doesn't come over here." Yeah. Anyway, amazing. I think we've reached our limit on clowning today.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Have a safe holiday. Enjoy the leprechauns, the green beer, but be safe out there, people. Those of you over 21.
Yes, indeed. We will see you all at some point, I'm sure. But good luck to everybody this week, and most importantly, have some fun, guys. So we'll catch you down the road. All
All right.
right. Let's
Woo. I was losing blood circulation with that